Drama in the National Assembly as Senator Akpabio resigns as minority leader and DSS armed officials block access to the complex. PDP House members warning of disturbance at the National Assembly. On international scene, U.S. reimposes tough unilateral sanctions against Iran. And in sport, Tanzania Football Federation appoint Emmanuel Aminike head coach.
This is ANN News.
I am Rotimi Akintunde. Nigeria's National Assembly was looking like a fortress this morning with masked and armed officials of the Department of State Services barring legislators, staff and journalists from accessing the complex. Senate Minority Leader Godswill Akpabio had just resigned his post and Senate President Bukola Saraki had called an emergency meeting for Tuesday afternoon. Many opinions have been flying around since the development on Tuesday. Some believe all this could not be unconnected with recent defections, especially that of the Senate President and Akpabio's resignation. There are rumors he is ready to defect from PDP to the ruling APC, but he has not confirmed that. ANN's Lucy Adeyemi has the details on all of this.
Senator Godswill Akpabio resigned his position in a letter dated August the 4th to Deputy Senate Minority Leader and all senators, including the National Chairman of the People's Democratic Party, PDP. Akpabio did not state the reasons for his resignation, but an exclusive report says the Akwa Ibom Northwest lawmaker will decamp to the ruling All Progressives Congress APC. Sources say the former Senate Minority Leader will not decamp to the ruling party alone. He is expected to be joined by 3 members of the House of Representatives from Akwa Ibom State and 12 members of Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly. Meanwhile, armed and masked officials of the Department of State Security Services DSS took over the National Assembly complex and prevented staff, legislators and journalists from entering. ANN News is monitoring the development and will report them as they break. Lucy Adeyemi, ANN News.
Well, only yesterday, Monday, the People's Democratic Party members of the House of Representatives warned that something of this nature would happen on Tuesday, saying there was a plot to invade the Senate and reconvene it by force. The PDP caucus warned that the plot allegedly to be executed by a small group of senators would be aided by security agencies. They also said if the plan were carried out, it could lead to a total breakdown of law and order. Senator Ben Murray-Bruce was one of the lawmakers that were denied access to the National Assembly complex on Tuesday. While briefing journalists later, the senator said he questioned the operatives on the reason for the barricades, but he received no answers. The senator threatened to get the details of all the operatives involved in the barricading of the complex. He said their names would be sent to all relevant embassies to have their visas revoked. Senator Bruce said on Twitter, quote, "We will forever defend this hard-fought democracy. Illegality will never stand," end quote. Meanwhile, a meeting of the National Assembly leadership scheduled for Tuesday afternoon was cancelled as a result of the blockade. Deputy Speaker of the House, Yusuf Lasson, told newsmen a meeting cannot be held under those conditions. He also said, quote, "It is unfortunate that this is happening because when the parliament is under siege, democracy is under siege." Shortly after, by midday Tuesday, things had come to a head. Laolu Akonde, spokesman to Professor Yemi Osinbajo, announced on Twitter that the acting president had sacked the Director General of the Department of State Services, Lawal Dora. Now to other stories. Boko Haram jihadists have killed 7 villagers in a dawn raid on the village of Munduri, 13 kilometers from Maiduguri, Borno State capital. Gunmen in trucks and motorcycles are reported to have attacked the villagers on Monday, firing guns and rocket-propelled grenades. A resident said the village chief and his wife were decapitated by the terrorists. Boko Haram has intensified its armed campaign in recent weeks. They have also been targeting the military, dozens of whom are reportedly killed or missing. Acting President Yemi Osinbajo has expressed sadness over the drowning of 9 National Youth Service Corps members in Taraba State. They were among 22 other corps members who had gone on a day of fun, pinicking and swimming. They drowned when the water volume surged in River Mayosobe in Gashaka local government area. Professor Shivaji said in a statement through his spokesperson, Nigeria has lost some of its talented and productive young people in their prime. He praised them for their service to the nation and expressed condolences to the families. The drowned corps members were from Edo, Enugu, Delta and Imo states. Stay with ANN News. We will take a break and be right back.
You are watching ANN.
Are you sure you want to do this?
Adam, go and bring us your husband. Okay, hello baby.
We're in this together, okay? Can you hear me? Keep coming forward.
Wait, stop.
You okay, lean to your right. Keep walking down. Keep walking to the left. Yes.
You're almost here.
Keep going.
You are here. Wow, you did it.
I'm just so glad I didn't have to use my cane to do this.
And I am so glad no other man got you before me. Let me be your eyes.
We will never stop working to give you a network you can rely on so you can enjoy life's special moments. MTN, everywhere you go.
I am Lucy Adeyemi.
I am Rotimi Akintunde.
I am Olajumoke Olatunji.
We bring you
The news,
On ANN News.
business,
politics,
Global News.
Watch ANN News.
In a truly African spirit.
Shining our eyes on breaking news, whether in the east or in the west, with Al-Shabaab in Somalia and Boko Haram in Nigeria, with turbulence in the north and agitation in the south. Wherever you live in Nigeria, wherever news happens in Africa, we've got it covered. ANN News, connecting Africans in a truly African spirit.
Welcome back. This is ANN News. Let's visit some African countries. Today's Ivory Coast 50th Independence celebration, and President Alassane Ouattara has announced presidential pardon to 800 prisoners. Among those pardoned is the former First Lady Simone Bagbo. The move is seen as a boost to the post-crisis reconstruction in the country after the 2011 election. Political analysts say it is a good initiative for national reconciliation. Another high-profile person to be released is a senior aide to Speaker Guillaume Soro, Solomon Kony. He was arrested in 2017 accused of illegal possession of firearms. Human Rights Watch has accused the Zambian government of failing to enforce a law that protects the right of young mothers to be educated. The Southern African country promulgated a re-entry policy in 1997 that allowed pregnant girls to return to school after giving birth. Observers said it was a positive step towards upholding girls' basic right to education, expanding their future, job options, and contributing to the country's economic progress. While many young mothers are still dropping out of school because the government is not putting the policy into practice. It also does not monitor school compliance. Adolescent mothers lack the mental health and support. A peace deal in South Sudan has revived hope not just that the guns will stop firing, but that economic stability can return. On Monday, we reported President Salva Kiir and rebel leader Riek Machar signed a ceasefire and power-sharing agreement in the Sudanese capital Khartoum. Sudan's government also said on Sunday oil will be pumped from South Sudan's Unity State through Sudan for export from next month. Although previous deals have failed to end the conflict, now residents said they are desperate for this one to succeed. A resident said what people want is services, peace, their children to go to school, hospitals, security, and clean water. Kira said last week the new peace mediated by Sudan and East African nations would hold because it was not imposed by outsiders. He added other deals had failed because of external pressure. At least 3 Burundian soldiers were killed and 5 others injured in an attack outside of the capital Bujumbura over the weekend. Police and media sources said on Monday a truck with about a dozen soldiers on board was ambushed by an unidentified armed group while on their way to an army position in Rukoko. 3 soldiers were killed on the spot and 5 others were injured. The region lies alongside a swampy area on the border of Democratic Republic of Congo, where Hutu National Forces of Liberation rebels are known to be active. Health officials in the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, have said they will begin administering Ebola vaccinations in the eastern cities of Beni and Magina, which experienced an outbreak of the disease last week. Officials say the experimental vaccine produced by drug maker Merck was successful in containing a similar outbreak less than 2 weeks ago in northwestern Congo. So far, 13 cases have been confirmed and 3 deaths registered. President Uhuru Kenyatta is scheduled to meet with U.S. President Donald Trump at the end of the month. The meeting will focus on deepening partnerships in the area of trade and security. Press Secretary Sarah Sanders says the meeting will feature discussions on stability on the African continent. Meanwhile, Kenya police have announced a new security measure that will see camels join the country's animal policing unit, which currently has dogs and horses in it. Its main task will be to patrol remote sectors of the country's border with Somalia in an effort to combat banditry. Currently, there are 50 camels being trained. The camels will also be used to patrol the country's northeastern border, where there is high incidence of cattle rustling. Camel patrols have been used in New Zealand, Australia, and India. Kenyan officers have been sent to India to learn how this works. Abdi Mohamed Omar, president of Ethiopia's turbulent Somali region, has resigned following violence in the regional capital in which 29 people were killed. The former president has handed over his responsibility to former regional finance minister Ahmed Abdi Mohamed. Fighting broke out on Friday after an apparent rift between local authorities and the central government. Ethiopia's Somali region was the first area by Abiy Ahmed after he was elected in April. He has tried to ease tensions between the ethnic Somali and Oromo communities that have experienced violence, in which dozens of people have been killed. We will take another short break and be right back. Stay with us.
You are watching ANN.
If you know fit go internet or follow for Twitter, you know fit snap photo send or get it photo send. That because you dey use Palasa, your phone no dey answer. See me see wahala. My brother, go get smartphone, yeah. Drop that Palasa phone. Phone wey no go for your hand, yeah. Drop that Palasa phone. Phone wey no fit take selfie. Drop that Palasa phone. No be correct phone, yeah. Drop that Palasa phone.
Upgrade to a smartphone today and get double data for 6 months on any MTN data bundle you buy. Simply purchase a smartphone from any store anywhere in Nigeria or bring your current smartphone from any network. Insert your MTN SIM card to start enjoying your double data bonus. Offer is open to all new and existing MTN subscribers. Join the largest smartphone movement today.
Make it not for your hand, that's Palasa phone.
There is a new all-news network on the scene in Nigeria to give news from a purely news perspective and to promote free information flow across Africa. Fresh views, unbiased, bold, with a purely African view. African News Network, ANN, in a truly African spirit.
MTN gives 2,000% bonus for reactivating your MTN SIM. That's right. If you haven't used your MTN SIM for 45 days or more, recharge now and get 2,000% bonus. That's right, 2,000% bonus for your first recharge of every month.
Welcome back. This is CNN News. Now to international stories. A security breach at Frankfurt International Airport has caused a lockdown at one of the terminals on Tuesday. It was reported that someone had walked past security without permission. Police stopped passengers from boarding flights and cleared out the security zone of Area A of Terminal 1 of the airport just past noon local time. As police evacuated the terminal, airport authorities warned of flight disruptions. It was not immediately clear whether one or more persons had breached security at the terminal. The Trump administration has reintroduced sanctions on Iran on Monday. This action is as a result of Trump's decision to withdraw from the landmark nuclear deal reached in 2015. A senior White House official says this is part of a coordinated campaign of pressure on Tehran that President Trump has put in place from day one of his administration. He accused the region from Yemen to Syria of using the resources they received from the nuclear deal to spread what he called human misery across the region. The U.S. and regional allies like Saudi Arabia and Israel accuse Iran of being the foremost state sponsor of terrorism. International inspectors say Iran has been complying with the nuclear deal, which was signed by the 5 permanent members of the United Nations Security Council, to which the U.S. belongs. The U.S. has expressed Trump's willingness to negotiate, but Iranian President Rouhani said Washington needed first to prove it can be trusted. Canada has refused to back down in its defense of human rights after Saudi Arabia froze new trade and investment and expelled the Canadian ambassador. This the Saudis did in retaliation for Ottawa's call to free arrested Saudi civil society activists. Canadian Foreign Minister Chrystia Freeland said her country will always stand in defense of human rights in Canada and around the world. She also said women's rights are human rights. Saudi Arabia recalled its ambassador from Canada and gave the Canadian ambassador 24 hours to leave. The Saudi government also banned new trade with Canada. It is yet unclear whether this would affect existing trade and defense contracts totaling nearly $20 billion. Chinese news agency Xinhua is reporting that biotechnology company Changsheng, a vaccine maker at the center of safety scandal in China, began falsifying production records for its rabies vaccine in 2014. The biotechnology company was mixing some batches with expired solution and did not correctly record dates or batch numbers. Xinhua was citing the findings of an investigation team established by China's State Council. China launched sweeping spot checks at vaccine makers around the country last month in a bid to rein in public outrage. Changsheng was found to have falsified data for the rabies vaccine and had manufactured an ineffective vaccine for Chinese babies. A Japanese school has been found to deliberately cut women's entrance test scores for at least a decade. An investigation panel calls it a very serious instance of discrimination. School officials have denied having known of the manipulations. Prime Minister Shinzo Abe has made a priority of creating a society that is conducive to the advancement of women, but women in Japan still face an uphill battle in employment. They also face hurdles returning to work after childbirth, a factor blamed for a falling birth rate in Japan. Investigation of complaints of graft against the Tokyo Medical University showed that the institution boosted men's scores, sometimes as high as 49 points. Investigators say they are not sure how many women were affected by this scandal. Businesses in Thailand's Phetchaburi province blocked doors with sandbags and bricks against possible flooding on Tuesday as heavy rains threatened to cause a dam to overflow. The rainstorms are forecast through coming days, and the head of Thailand's military government warned that evacuation plans might need to be set in place. Thailand suffered its worst floods in half a century in 2011. The floods killed more than 900 persons, crippled industry and dented economic growth. Officials say they are confident water levels at the Kang Krashan Dam and any water runoff could be managed. The current rainy season has already caused havoc in neighboring Cambodia and Laos. We will take another short break and be right back. Stay with us.
Whether in your house, at your office, on your phone or online, we are there. We have the facts behind the headlines. We cut to the chase with the news you really need. We cover every angle. We are the bigger, better news network. We are African News Network. ANN. Watch ANN News on MITV from a truly African spirit.
Are you sure you want to do this?
Adam, go and bring us your husband. Okay, hello baby.
We're in this together, okay? Can you hear me? Keep coming forward.
Wait, stop.
You okay, Lindsay, you alright? Keep walking down. Keep walking to the left. Yes.
You're almost here.
Keep going.
You are here. Wow, you did it.
I'm just so glad I didn't have to use my cane to do this.
And I am so glad no other man got you before me. Let me be your eyes.
We will never stop working to give you a network you can rely on, so you can enjoy life's special moments. MTN, everywhere you go.
Welcome back. This is CNN News. In sports, the Tanzania Football Federation have announced the appointment of former Nigerian winger Emmanuel Amunike as the new head coach of the Taifa Stars on a 2-year contract. The immediate task for the former Barcelona winger is to help the Taifa Stars qualify for next year's Africa Cup of Nations in Cameroon. Amunike was capped 27 times by Nigeria and was a member of the Super Eagles side that won the 1994 AFCON title in Tunisia. We wish him well. Nigeria's under-20 women team, the Falconets, lost 1-0 to the three-time world champions Germany in their opening Group C game at the FIFA Women's World Cup in France. Stephanie Sanders fired in from close range in the 70th minute after the Falconets failed to clear their lines from a corner kick. This is the third time the Falconets have been beaten by the German women under-20 team. They lost in the finals in 2010 and 2014. The Falconets will look forward to redeeming themselves when they face Haiti on Thursday. That is our report on ANN News this evening. Thanks for joining us. For details on these and other stories, visit our website, annafrica.net. Conversation continues on our social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at ANN Africa TV. I am Rotimi Akintunde. Have a pleasant evening.